special for lunch, and this is going to be enough for a couple of people. What I have here is what we call corned beef, or some people call it bully beef in the Caribbean, and it is a can of corned beef, and you fry it up or you cook it with onions, garlic, some herbs, tomatoes, cajun pepper, and just a little bit of ketchup in there as well too. And this is what I had for dinner last night. Today's lunchtime. I've got leftover rice, so a couple cups of cooked rice. That's about 2.5 cups of cooked rice, and of course the leftover corned beef. It's on a medium heat right now, and yeah, it's going to take on these sort, and you may have seen me do a recipe like this before. I love doing these leftover specials because, you know, waste not, want not is the sort of motto we run by in the Caribbean, because it's a matter of using all of that food without wasting. So if you've seen this before, you can press on. This recipe is not for you. I may have shared it before, and I'm just going to bring that up. I want to get that sizzle, because there's, now when I cook my bully beef, oh, there we go, I'm Jamaican now, not bully beef, corned beef. It's one of them things, you know, when you represent the Caribbean, you've got to know these sort of lingo across the region. So you may hear me say bully beef, but anyways, I don't cook it with oil because there's enough fat in that can of corned beef. We don't need to add any more fat, any more oil, any more of that cholesterol in our diet. So you will see that's the remnants of fat from the corned beef itself when I cooked it. I'm just going to turn it down just slightly, a bit, and to that, just to give it more body. And what I was going to say, it may take on the sort of appearance of a fried rice, but it's going to be soggy. It's not really going to be much of a fried rice, even though the rice was in the fridge. It's nice and chilled. To that, I'm going to add some julienne carrot, and that's just a small carrot. And again, this is just to give it a bit more body. And although I cook the corned beef with onion, I'm going to add just a bit more onion in there, because I want to give it that old belly full kind of feeling. You know, a couple people will be nice and full from this. You may even fall asleep after, I don't know. Now, when I cook corned beef, I don't add any salt. High sodium, you know, I'm trying to cut back on the amount of sodium in my diet, but I'm going to add some tomato and cabbage in here. My rice is also cooked in salted water, so I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of sea salt. If you wanted to, you know, later on you can adjust that as well. And of course we need some black pepper. Even though there's black pepper when I cook the corned beef, I just want to add just a little bit more. Now there's remnants of that Scotch bonnet pepper in there, so I'm not going to add any sort of heat to it. But what I want to do at this point is add about 1.5 cups of chopped cabbage in there. And it's a great way, if you're cleaning out the fridge and you're trying to get rid of remnants, you know, small pieces of vegetables and stuff like that you have in there, by all means toss it in here. So if you wanted to add some bell pepper in here, you can do that. It's totally up to you. What I'm going to do is, we need that cabbage to cook down a little bit, so I'm just going to stir that, let the fat from the bottom of the pan there kind of help us cook that cabbage. And you can see, you are that corned beef and rice, yo, if you grew up in the Caribbean, listen, that is the go-to thing when times are, well, it's expensive now, but there was a time it was the go-to thing. First of all, when you want something quick to eat, and something relatively cheap to eat as well too. So I'm just gonna put the lid on there, and I'm gonna let that go on that medium-low heat for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm not trying to get my cabbage overly soggy. You can see the cabbage is already starting to wilt down a bit. To give this just a tiny bit more color, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clear a little spot in the center, and I want to add about 1/2 teaspoon. And this is a very dark soy sauce. This is mushroom flavored soy sauce. I'm not affiliated with the brand, but I do enjoy it. And I'm just gonna move that around, push that over. As soon as that soy sauce warms through, which is in about, you know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so, what I have here now is the rice. I'm just gonna dump in the rice in there. And as I mentioned earlier, it is chilled, so it's going to take on that sort of grainy sort of texture. But again, if it's not chilled, it really doesn't matter at this point. I'm just going to put the lid back on and let that go for another couple of minutes. I want that rice to warm through. We're almost there. Notice how quick things are moving along. I'm just going to hit that to stir now. See, and that mushroom flavored soy sauce is going to bring a little earthiness to things. Hit that good stir because we want to combine all those flavors together. And remember that corned beef, like I said earlier, there's some herbs in there. There's onion, garlic, Scotch bonnet pepper. So there's a ton of flavor in that corned beef that we have as leftover. I have some cherry tomato from the garden, so I'm just going to toss that in there. During the summer months when I have this stuff, I love employing its flavors into things, adding additional texture. So what we're going to do now is turn the heat up to medium, and we're going to quickly heat this through. And notice how quick this was. In under 10 minutes, you're going to have a lovely dish to share with your special someone. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Give this another couple minutes. Taste it for salt. Remember, when you add the salt, keep in mind if you are going to add some of that mushroom flavored soy sauce, it will bring a sodium element to things. So go light on the salt if you're adding salt. After you've added the mushroom flavored soy sauce, it's heated through. I'm just going to give this a couple more minutes just to soften up the tomato just a little bit and to fully warm through that rice. Keep in mind that this is when, after you've added that mushroom flavored soy sauce, is when you would taste it and add more salt if necessary. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you all in the kitchen with me. A quick lunch, and to be honest with you, with a little salad or something, some cucumber or something on the side, a little avocado, you can probably stretch this for 3 people. Yeah? Always a pleasure. Irie?